YouTube land. This is Josh at Trine Tech, and today we're going to be doing a new video update on Skyline emulator. There's been a lot of developments with this emulator, especially as of late. This version of the emulator that I'm using is 1472, version 1472. This is actually a merge into the main build of what is being called Skyline Edge, which is the free version, or the paid version, I should say. However, all the difference between the paid and the free version is that you basically get updates and features 2 weeks earlier. So this is actually incorporated stuff from one of the first Skyline Edge builds, I think from version 6 thus far. And they've definitely did a lot in terms of compatibility and fixes. Right now I'm hoping that they start to incorporate a lot more driver updates for Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 and up processors, because right now, like most of the developments, driver side, done by the main dev and other developers that have been helping, is been with like Snapdragon 865 processors and 865 plus. So anyways, we're gonna run through some of the things here. As I said, this is currently using the should be 1472. I have performance statistics on. I am using the custom Qualcomm driver 61537 custom driver, which is slightly better than the stock drivers from what's been told. And we are in handheld mode, so we're not using docked mode. And triple buffering on. I just have it where it's like it just limits with the 60 FPS, and enable texture readback hack on. So if it doesn't work, try turning this off, but for now we have it on. It will have better performance, but it breaks some games, and I'm using a controller, just a regular controller. So yeah, in 1 minute I'm gonna load up the games. We're gonna test 6 games here. Before I was like barely able to get like maybe, I don't know, probably like 3 games tops working on this emulator, and that was even on my Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Plus, which again is using Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, 8 gigabytes of RAM. So yeah, it's definitely no slouch hardware wise, but this thing has actually been optimized to where like now on Mali devices or lower end devices, like games have been able to load and run at a decent frame rate. So we're gonna check them out here, and be back in a minute as I load up the first game. Alright, first game we're testing is World End Syndrome. This is a visual novel, so it's not very graphics intensive. I think out of all the games I've tested, this one like works pretty much flawlessly. It does occasionally crash. Okay. I don't think I have a game save here. Nope.
始まったの。見果てちゃ忌まわしき呪われた街。見果て町に行くんでしょ。もう大きいな。君、あのまま電車に乗ってたら大変なことになってたんだよ。見果て町に行くにはさっきの駅で乗り換えないと。それなのに君ったらすっかり熟睡してておせっかいかなと思ったんだけど、つい声をかけちゃった。君、もう眉間にシワを寄せて寝てたんだよ。
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and stop it there. But as you can see, this game works pretty much flawlessly. Just holds at 60 FPS, zero issues. Everything's rendering properly, accurate, and the frame rate's fine. Not too heavy. This is, basically a visual novel, so it's not like anything really too difficult to play. But it does this game very well. Alright, so we're going to load our next game. Okay, so our next game is going to be Mercenaries Rebirth. This is basically knockoff generic kind of version of Final Fantasy Tactics, like the old Tactics games. Not quite as dynamic story as Tactics, but it is it's okay. It's it's not bad. Decent game for what it is. And the improvement on this game has been really good. This used to not load at all, and when it did, it had a lot of issues. Alright, so I'll do the tutorial so I don't spoil anything here. Alright, so this is playing at 60 FPS. Everything looks good. Just be warned with this game, the textures do not always load properly. If you're having problems with the textures, just back out of the game and start it over, and it should be fine. What's interesting is this is actually playing better now that I'm actually recording. Some reason when I don't record, it doesn't actually lock to 60 FPS. It locks to 120, which is the refresh rate of this display. Okay, so see now all of a sudden, see what happened to the textures there? I'm not really sure why that happened. Now, it does not interfere with the playing of the game. You can still play this game just fine with even with the issues with the map textures. But like I said, if you're having problems, just back out, reload the game, and it should load up fine. So the performance on this is very good. Just seems to be a little bit of a texture bug here. And like I said, when I first loaded in the map, it was fine. It's kind of hit or miss. So I would say this is playable. There's nothing actually interfering with the playing of the game. It doesn't crash. It plays fine. Frame rate's fine. But there's just this annoying kind of map texture bug. Alright, so that's enough of that one. And we'll load up our next game. Alright, so the next game is called Verizon X. I think that's how it's called. This game is a bullet hell shooter for those that like those type of games. So this one, I've had some texture issues with this one. We'll see how it turns out now. The main thing you're gonna see, hopefully, we'll see. Always pick this girl. Oh, she has different bullet styles? Okay. I am not very good at these games, so please don't roast me. Okay, the textures is actually loading perfectly. So right now, it's showing up fine. Everything looks fine. It's rendering well, 60 FPS. You're gonna see, we'll see, when you start shooting, sometimes this slows down with some of these effects. Just the effects get to be a little bit much. Okay, that's odd. This is actually playing really well now. Last time I played this, it was really slowing down. It's kind of weird. I'm getting my ass kicked trying to talk while playing this. Okay, there you go. Now, it took a while for it to slow down there, though. It's actually playing better now that I have screen recording on, which is super weird, because usually on devices, like on really any device, when you start doing screen recording, there's a little bit of extra CPU and graphical overhead, and so that can have just kind of issues with that little bit of extra overhead kind of slows things down. But it's very odd. This is actually playing amazingly. Let's see if I can finish recording before I get killed. Yeah, so there was that initial slowdown with when the third type of bullets this boss started shooting, and then it kind of slowed down, dipped. Yeah, even the explosion did not. This is with the texture hack on. But this emulator really does not use that many hacks. It's not like AGNS where it uses a crap ton of hacks to kind of make it play. So yeah, with the texture hack enabled, this actually works amazingly well. Okay, so this is playable. Very minor slowdowns, but even then it was very momentary, and then after that it recovered and it was just fine. All right, so we're gonna call this playable, and definitely can be played with this version. Okay, so next game we're playing is Collection of Mana. This is it's basically a collection of the old school mana games and kind of an obscure title that was related to the mana title, but it was called Final Fantasy Adventure, but it technically is part of the Mana series. I know that sounds weird, but Trials of Mana, and this is not the redone one that was redone for 3D or whatever. This is like the old school 2D Super Famicom one that never came to the States. Secret of Mana. This game was actually on the Super Nintendo system. This never got to the West, and then this was released, but it was released in the West. Okay, so there's a little sound glitch when the game loads. Don't know if you heard that. This is not a very challenging title. I mean, it's basically an emulator rap playing old Super Famicom and Game Boy Advance titles. So, this is one of the first games that was really playable on this emulator as far as games that I had. But yeah, this is still just as playable. Alright, we're gonna skip. Yeah, there's a little bit of a sound glitch when you open up the options menu. It just I'm gonna pick the Amazon chick. Oh, that's a dude. Oh gosh. So confused. Okay. This is an Amazon chick. No, she's the wizard. Yeah, so there's a little bit of a sound glitch. The video's rendering fine. Again, this is not a challenging game. If anything, with these games, you'll see maybe some texture glitches or something, but this is... Okay, so definitely playable. I'd say this is like perfect emulation. Pretty much, there's very minor sound glitch, but it's definitely playable. Has no issues loading. Textures look fine, no graphical glitches, and it's playing 60 FPS. So yeah, I'd say this one's perfect, if not playable. Alright, so we're back. This is actually attempt 3. I've had 2 freezes loading a certain scene. So we're going to try to load a different fight. I thought maybe it was the texture readback hack being on, but I've turned that off and it still froze on this fight. So let's see if it freezes on this. Okay, so it seems like, yeah, this one freezes. So this is actually a regression because this game initially did play on previous versions. So for some reason, something with this new version, we lost compatibility on this. This one was very much playable on earlier versions with minor graphical issues, so it looks like this one is not going to work. Okay, so the next game we're playing is Star Ocean First Departure R. For those of you that have not played the old school Star Oceans, this is actually a port of a port It's an enhanced port of the PSP version of the old school Star Ocean games. And I think the originals came out on Super Famicom, perhaps PS1, but I don't think it was PS1. I think it was Super Famicom. Now, the only thing about this, yeah, so the FMVs are currently not working. Now, before, I've played this on prior versions, and it always had the FMV issue. But before, it had another more serious issue when you would load into the game. So yeah, so the text is showing on the FMVs. The actual FMVs themselves are not showing. And this is with the texture glitch on or off. So the little FMVs in between, you won't be able to watch. Which, while they add to the story, they're not, I don't know. I guess it depends on how you view it. It's not really that crucial to your enjoyment of the game, and there's not that many FMVs in this game. This had a more serious issue before. Before, it was not loading textures in certain houses, to include Millie's house here. Millie's one of your companions. But this used to not load properly, and so it was very hard to get around certain houses. But currently, this seems to be playing fine. Again, this is not a super demanding game. Although this same game, like I've played on AGNS, and they still have not fixed the graphical glitch on this game where FMVs load fine, but there was issue where the textures on the characters were not displaying properly. By the way, if you have not played this game, you really should. This is an absolute fantastic game, and as far as all the ports, this is like the best version of that game. Enhanced character sprites and all that. The rest of it's not that much different from the PSP version, but like the actual art, the sprites for the art. Okay, so this is actually the way that this game plays. It slows down to 30 FPS in battle. I'm not sure why. Not that it really matters. It's all very smooth, very fluid. And then in game, when you're walking around, it's and while this may look like 100% 2D, this is actually, it's like 2.5D. So these are actually 3D models in game that have 2D sprites basically applied to them. All right, let's see. We'll fight one more of these battles, and then.
Look out! Hang in there, everyone.
I'm not sure what I did there.
It's over.
They're putting up more of a fight than we figured.
Alright, so this one, obviously very playable, 60 FPS in game. Just that graphics glitch where the FMVs are not displaying properly. But other than that, I'd say this game is definitely playable with some minor graphical glitches. But you could play through the whole game even like this. Okay, so that's it for my little performance review here. So, what do I think? Honestly, it is very impressive that the progress that Bylaws and Kimchi and some of these other developers that have helped with this project have made in such a short amount of time. They've actually made a lot more progress compared to their main competitor, which is AGNS, which I'm not going to do it for this video, but there's reasons to choose this emulator over AGNS. AGNS does a lot of kind of scuzzy practices, forces you to a proprietary controller. If you don't use the controller, you have to pay to use other controllers. They've stolen code, allegedly have stolen code from both Yuzu and even Skyline itself, allegedly, again. But these guys have made outstanding progress on this app in a very short amount of time, and the changes that they've made since they've gone to like basically a premium version with the Edge version, and still developing the free version. But ever since they've gone to this Edge build, there's been a lot of fast developments and improvements on the emulator. I'm just hoping that hopefully Kimchi and some of the other graphics drivers developers just show a little bit more love to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 and 1 Plus, because yeah, even though that's a more powerful chip, a lot of these driver optimizations have not just improved like the performance of the chip itself, but also the rendering, and gotten rid of a lot of the graphical glitches that have showed up on certain games like Metroid Dread, some of these others. But overall, like compared to out of these 6 games, only 3 of these were playable at one point when this emulator first was starting, and that was World End Syndrome, the Collection of Mana, and Rudimical. Now, out of those 3, now one of them doesn't play on this new version. I'm hoping they fix that, but you know, the loss of that game is not that big of a deal. It's not a huge deal to me, but these other 2 games now play perfectly if they didn't before, and now previous games that were unplayable or had major graphical glitches that really hindered the playing of those games, such as Mercenaries Rebirth, Verizon, and Star Ocean First Departure, now play like not perfectly, but they play very well. There are a couple little texture issues and some issues with the FMVs loading. But now even Raijin, which is like a bullet hell shooter, a lot of stuff going on the screen, and it was playing perfectly, especially for some reason better when I had the screen recording on. But overall, it's very impressive what they've done with this emulator. If you do want to support the developers, I would encourage you to go ahead and donate to their Patreon, and then you can get that early 2 weeks access. But even if you don't donate to their Patreon, they are instituting these changes with their premium build into the mainstream build that's free within 2 weeks, if not less. And this last one they did, it was less than 2 weeks before they instituted basically that premium version change build into the mainstream build. All right. But yeah, I hope this helped. So if you want to give it a try, I would say check out the link in the description below. I'm going to link Skyline Emulator's download page. If it's not from that page, it is not the actual Skyline emulator. They're not currently available on Google Play. And this is not, you can't play this on, you know, Apple devices because you can't sideload. So until this becomes like an actual official app on either iOS or that sort, you're not going to be able to play this. But I'd say check out this emulator. It's made a lot of great improvements, and it's getting better every day. It seems almost every day or every other day there's a new build coming out. So let me know what you think in the comments below. What are some other games you'd like me to test? If I don't have the games, I'll see if I can get them downloaded just for testing purposes and test them out. Let me know what games you would like to see in my next video. And if you want to see the next video, make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell. That's it. This is Josh at Tryin' Tech. Till next time, signing out.
I've been drinking all this lean, I know I need to stop. Hopping out of stolen cars and we shoot chops.